Hey everyone, my name is Justin Tejeda. Welcome to Just Sculpture. Today I want to go over a quick little video just talking about how to install a saw blade into your jeweler's saw frame. Before we get started, a little bit about the materials that you'll be using. Right here I actually have an adjustable saw frame. So there's two types of saw frames. There's the adjustable like we have here, and there's also a fixed saw frame. The adjustable is going to have this little notch right here. And what this does, it allows us to move our saw frame up and down. So in case we do break a saw blade, we can always adjust this to make it a little bit smaller. And with the fixed one, it's just going to have this same curvature, but it won't have this adjustable knob right here. Now the other thing that we have going to be your saw blades. So right here in front of us, we have what's called a 4/0 saw blade. And how that's written is 4-0. Now the 4/0 is actually going to be used for a little bit thinner piece of metal. Now your saw blades can go from grade 4, which is going to be your coarsest, all the way to 8/0, which is going to be the finest. What I would recommend for anyone starting out is to order a 2/0 saw blade. So again, that's 2-0. Those are going to be for general purpose. Maybe you're not getting into fine detail, but you're also probably not working with super thick metal. And a good rule of thumb is you want about 2.5 teeth per thickness of metal. So for example, we have a little piece of silver right here. If we hold up our saw blade to the metal, you're going to want to see 2.5 teeth, and that's going to give you the most effective cutting saw for that piece of metal. So again, I would just recommend starting off with a 2/0 saw blade. Okay, so when you first get your saw blades, you'll notice that there's this small little brass wire that connects your 12-pack of saw blades. And what I recommend you doing is I recommend you not taking off the full piece of brass wire, but if you can start to just untangle it right here.
If you can just start to unravel this brass wire, just to get it started, you might be able to slip out one of your saw blades.
And I don't recommend you taking this all the way off is because once you do, you're going to have saw blades going everywhere. And you want to kind of keep these in place. So
let's see if we can get one of these out of here. Bear with me. Alright, we finally got one.
Okay, now once you finally get one of these out, you're going to want to make sure that your saw blade is actually facing the right direction. Now, if you have a hard time seeing, because sometimes these little teeth are very hard to see, what you can do to make sure it's in the right orientation before putting this in is you can run your thumb or your fingernail up, and if it catches on the upstroke, that means you have it the right way. So you got to actually have the blades facing down whenever you put it into the saw blade. So let me show you, for example. I just went ahead and drew it for you. Now you're going to have two ends that are very flat, so the very bottom and top ends. Those are what's going to go right into here. But then you also have the teeth. So your teeth are going to be facing down, and you want them facing outwards like this because your pieces of metal is going to be coming in right here. So again, you're going to have the teeth facing down and then facing out. Now the next part of this is we want to make sure that we have the right amount of tension on our saw blade. So let me flip this. If we line this up right here, we can see that our saw blade actually comes to the very edge of there, and it comes down to the very edge right there. So that's not going to allow us to have enough tension on the saw frame when we put it in. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to adjust this knob. Now, for mine, you can see that it's a little bit rusty because I've had this for years, but I already have my mark where it usually is, so I'm actually just going to adjust this down, but I will show you how it looks. you're gonna now notice that the saw blade right there ends, and we have all this space for the tension. And then same thing right here. Our saw blade ends just right down here, and we have more space to add tension. Installing the saw blade. So again, it's going to be extremely important that we get this on the right side. So if you can see the teeth, we want to make sure we're facing the right direction. And if we put our thumb going upwards, it's going to get caught. So that is the right direction. And now we want to insert it into our saw frame. I usually start at the very bottom first. So I open up these thumb screws right here, and I put this all the way to the bottom, all the way to the base. I hold it in place with my other thumb, and then we're going to go ahead and screw this in like that. Now, all you have to do is screw it in thumb tight. You don't ever want to use pliers because you can mess up this threading right here. And once you mess up the threading, you're going to have to get a new saw frame, or you're going to have to re-thread it, which is a process. So after we get that in thumb tight, you're going to see that we want to double check that our saw frame and saw blade are in the right direction. So again, it's facing outwards, down, and out. Now that we have the bottom connected, we need to go ahead and close up the top. Now, you're not going to want to just open it up and close it like this, right? Because you're going to hear that there's no tension in the saw frame or the saw blade. So you're going to get that dull noise. It's going to be very floppy. And if you try to go and saw some metal, you're going to break this saw blade really easily. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to show you two different ways. The first way is, if you have your bench set up, you can always put this kind of maybe on your abdomen. I usually do my abdomen right here. And we're just going to add a little bit of pressure going forward. And this is going to cause tension to the blade. And we're going to keep that tension and screw the thumb screw in right here. Now when the thumb screw is tightened and we go to flick the saw blade, you hear that? It's a lot higher pitch. The other option you can do is, let's see, if that might hurt or you don't want to put pressure against your abdomen, you can always stand up and you can put it on your hip like this. Same difference. We're just putting pressure and then we're tightening up our thumb screw. And there we go. Now that's perfect for us to start cutting. If you have any other questions, go ahead and leave it down below. And if you'd like to see any other videos pertaining to the saw blade, or if you need more information, please let me know. I will leave some links in the description where you can get these saw blades or a saw frame. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Let me know down below in the comments if this really helped you out, or if there's any other videos that you might like to see that pertain to sculpture, being an artist, or just learning some metalsmithing techniques. Subscribe, check out some other videos that I will be posting. Until next time, peace.